Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to use the sine rule. We've got 4 success criteria, and the first one is to use right-angled trigonometry. So we need to make sure when we use trigonometry that we label a right-angled triangle correctly. So the side opposite the right angle is known as the hypotenuse. The side opposite the angle is known as the opposite. And the side in between the angle and the right angle is known as the adjacent. So we've got the opposite that's opposite the angle, the adjacent, which is in between the right angle and the angle, and the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. We also need to remember SOHCAHTOA. So sine theta is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cos theta is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And tan theta is the opposite over the adjacent. And theta is always the angle. So for example, if we want to find the side labelled x of this right-angled triangle, we label the right-angled triangle first. So there's H, there's O, and there's A. We then think about SOHCAHTOA, and I'm trying to find the opposite, and I'm given the adjacent. So that's O and A. So O and A would be TOA. So that means I use tan. But I can say tan 52 equals x over 9. Make sure we get them the right way round, so it's opposite over adjacent. And now I can solve that equation. I can get rid of the divided by 9 by timesing both sides by 9. So x equals 9 times tan 52. So x is 11.52 centimeters. Here's another example. This time I want to find the angle x. So I label up my sides. And this time, when I think of SOHCAHTOA, I've got O and H. So that means I'm going to use SO, which means I use sine. So sine x equals 7 over 10, the opposite over the hypotenuse. So to solve this, I need to do the opposite of sine, which is sine to the minus 1. The angle x is sine to the minus 1, 7 over 10. So x is 44.43 degrees. So remember, to find an angle, we need to use sine to the minus 1, or cos to the minus 1, or tan to the minus 1. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. So now we've completed success criteria 1. So now we're going to move on to number 2, and this is to use the sine rule to find missing sides. So we use a different type of trigonometry for non-right angled triangles. So we label the angles with capital letters and the lengths with lowercase letters. Now it doesn't matter which side is which. However, angle A needs to be opposite side A. Angle B needs to be opposite side B. And angle C needs to be opposite side C. So the sine rule is A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. And we use this formula when we're trying to find a missing side. So we want to find the value of x. So if we label up the triangle, and it doesn't matter which one's A, B, and C, as long as the side is opposite the angle. So now that I've labeled everything up, I can use the sine rule. A over sine A equals B over sine B, and substitute the values in. So to solve it, and remember I need to find out what x is, I need to get rid of divide by sine 55. So I need to times both sides by sine 55, which gives me this. So I type that into the calculator. So x equals 22 centimeters. Here's another example. So again, I want to find the value of the side x. So I label up my angles and my sides. And then if I find angle C through angles in a triangle, I can see that angle C is 54 degrees. So then I can substitute my values into the sine rule. So this time I'm going to use B over sine B equals C over sine C. Substitute in my values, and then I need to get rid of the sine 54. So I times both sides by sine 54. Gives me this. So x is 12.9 centimeters. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So in this question, I want to find the length of side x. So I label up my sides and my angles. And for this one, I'm going to use A over sine A equals C over sine C. So I substitute in my values. And then because I'm dividing x by sine 49, I need to times both sides by sine 49. So I get this. So x is 7.49 centimeters. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we're going to move on to number 3, and this is to use the sine rule to find missing angles. So when I want to find a missing angle, I put the sine A, the sine B, and the sine C on top of the fraction. So we use this formula when we find missing angles. So I want to find the value of angle X. So I can label up my sides and my angles. And I can see that I can use sine A over A equals sine B over B. Substituting my values. And I need to get rid of the divide by 9 first of all. So I times both sides by 9. So I get this. And then I get rid of the sine by doing sine to the minus 1. So I get this. And this is what I type into the calculator. And I get X equals 70.6 degrees. Here's another example. Again, I want to find the size of angle X. So I label up my sides and my angles. And this time I'm going to use sine B over B equals sine C over C. Substituting my values. Then I get rid of the divide by 6 by timesing both sides by 6. And I get rid of the sine by doing sine to the minus 1. So this is what I type into the calculator. So X is 32.4 degrees. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So in this question, I want to find the size of angle X. So I start by labeling up my sides and my angles, like so. So to find X, I need to use sine B over B equals sine C over C. Substituting my values, and I need to get rid of the 7.2, so I times both sides by 7.2. And then I do sine to the minus 1. I type that into my calculator, and I get 58.3 degrees. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, there's your amber answers, and there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 3. So now we're going to move on to number 4, and this is to apply to problem-solving questions. So we want to find the area of the triangle BCD. So I need to find the length of side X, because to find the area of a triangle, I do the base times the height divided by 2. So I need to find the length of side CD, or X. For that, I need to find the length of the side BD, which we'll call Y. So if I label up my triangle, and I want to find the side y. So I use a over sine a equals c over sine c, and substitute in my values. Then I need to get rid of sine 30, so I times both sides by sine 30, and type that into my calculator to get y. The y is 4 root 2. Now I can use that to find side x, and I can just simply do that using Pythagoras' theorem because it's a right-angled triangle and I know 2 of the sides. So I use Pythagoras' theorem. So x is root 23. Now remember, I need to find the area of the triangle BCD. So for the area, I do the height times the base divided by 2, or a half the base times the height. So the area is 3 root 23 over 2. Here are 2 questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. Here are your answers. So for the green question, I want to calculate the length of Ln. So if I start by labeling up my sides and my angles, I'm going to use the sine rule to calculate the angle MLN. So I substitute the values in. I need to times both sides by 12.8. And then I use sine to the minus 1. So angle L is 34.5 degrees. And I know angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So angle M is 9.5 degrees. And now I can use the sine rule to calculate Ln. So I substitute in the values, times both sides by sine M. And if I type that into the calculator, Ln is 3.73 centimeters. For the amber question, I want to find the value of x to 2 decimal places. So if I label up my sides and my angles, then using angles in a triangle that add up to 180 degrees, I can work out that angle C is 105 degrees. So now I can use the sine rule and say 2x squared over sine 105 equals x over sine 45. I can times both sides by sine 105 and then divide both sides by x. Then to find out what x is, I divide both sides by 2. So x is 0.68 to 2 decimal places. We also need to know about the ambiguous case. So if an unknown angle is opposite the longest side, two triangles may be possible, and one will have an angle that's greater than 90 degrees. Like so. Here are 3 questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answer, there's your amber answer, and there's your red answer. And now we've completed success criteria 4. So now that we've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out the videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.